Hi, this is Damien Foley, and this is my MBA journey at the Melbourne Business School. I'm actually going to give a bit of a debrief of my week 3 here at the Melbourne Business School, but actually more so what I've done this week around for work and things like that. I know I haven't dropped any videos onto YouTube or onto Facebook or except for one where I've done an interview with Steph this week. I've just been absolutely busy. So, look, it's important I actually do this video, and you might wonder why I'm doing a video on about work and everything, bar the Melbourne, my studies here of the MBA at Melbourne Business School. It's because this is the reality of doing a part-time MBA. There are other things you have to juggle and work around and fit in with doing your MBA. If you're doing it part-time, most people are typically working at the same time. So I've had a pretty full-on week this week. So a bit of a rundown. I last put down a video for Monday on the 7th, I think that was, of October. So on the next day after that, well, that was a Monday. And then, so Tuesday, I had some corporate meetings. I had done business reviews directly after the meeting. I actually ran late to the meeting because I didn't have the corporate meeting in my schedule until last minute. So I ended up running late to that business review, which was, it was actually a very rewarding business review to do. All the business reviews that I've done. So when I say business reviews, I work for Kinaway, which is the Victorian Indigenous Chamber of Commerce, and as part of my role as relationship manager, I actually do reviews of our members of their business to work out where they are, where they're wanting to go, in order to assist them to develop and improve their business for growth. And we look at different things as part of that review, and look at both their opportunities and their pain points. So that's why it's so rewarding. It's about working with our members to grow them and develop them in a way that they can move forward. If you've ever had your own small business or any type of business, you'll know that it can be sometimes lonely, and there are stresses that are put on you as when you're responsible for not just yourself but your family, potentially employees, your clients, your customers. There's all these stakeholders that are involved that you're accountable and responsible for, not just yourself, which is what a lot of people don't realise when you're a business owner, especially a small or micro business owner. So yeah, I've done those business reviews on the Tuesday. I then had a class late on that evening for managing people. So Wednesday I had some more. Again, for work, I had 2 lots of business reviews. Again, very rewarding. They were in the construction area. So some interesting information to come out of that for me about what's happening in that area space here in Victoria, especially because there is a lot of work happening here around construction infrastructure. We're talking about 5, 10, up to 20 years worth of work potentially. So there's a lot of opportunities there for the members of Kinaway and who I'm working with around helping them to grow their businesses for the next 5, 10, 20 years. So that's why it's exciting for me to be working with those guys. Because of them, because they're working and working in their business a fair amount. One of the business reviews, actually, I started at 4 o'clock and I finished at about 7:30. So I did go late into that. It was to accommodate the business because they're on the tools until about 3:30 and 4 o'clock, and that's when they have knockoff. That's when they're able to knock off and finish work, because they start anywhere between 6 and 7 in the morning. So he took time to come and see me, and that was his available time. So I stayed back to do that business review with him. So, and again, a very rewarding outcome that I still got to get back around to doing my write-up of notes for. So I finished at 7:30. Then I came here to Melbourne Business School and then did a bit more study. So for a couple of hours, I think till 10, 11 o'clock, I done that. And then Thursday, I again for work, I done some corporate meetings. I actually ran into a fellow part-time MBA student who's doing the MBA with me here as part of the part-time MBA cohort. Ran him at his place of work because that's where I was having a meeting with the client, the corporate. So that was interesting. Introduced him to my boss, and yes. Then we finished that. I had Thursday evening. I then had data analysis, the class for that, which I'm going to do a video on around some hints and tips on data analysis that I've picked up in the last 3 weeks of doing classes. That will hopefully, if you're doing the MBA at Melbourne Business School, it'll help you if you get some forewarning about how to approach that. So, and I actually got some tips from other students who had previously done it in the last term or the term before. So it really helps to get some insider information about hints and tips on how to approach that. So I've done the data analysis, and then you'll see I've done that interview with Steph Vangeli who's a fellow student here doing the part-time MBA. So we've done that on Thursday night, and I posted that all up. And then Friday, again for work, I had some phone meetings in the office. I actually had then a farewell for my boss. He is moving on, so yes, he'll be missed. He'll still be around with that for that. There's no doubt. But in a different capacity, involved with the chamber in some way, shape, or form. He's a guy who's very passionate about what he's doing in this space around working with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander businesses around procurement and how that works and the benefits that actually provides to in the corporate space. He did it for the right reasons for who I work for Kinaway, the Victorian Indigenous Chamber of Commerce. He's done that, and now he's moving on to value add and progress that somewhere else. So I'll definitely be keeping in touch with him, that's for sure. So we last night we had his farewell, and then straight after that I came here to the Melbourne Business School, where there was actually the Murra 2019 intake, second intake, and it was actually their welcome dinner last night. And you would see on LinkedIn there is a photo of Dr. Michelle Evans, who was the co-founder of the Murra Indigenous Business Masterclass program here at Melbourne Business School. So she's done some great work there, and there's some other things that we're working with her with my work with the University of Melbourne and with PwC Indigenous Consulting around as well. So involved with her in that capacity as well. And she obviously also took a very keen interest in myself, being a former Murra alumni, to proceed on and do the MBA here at Melbourne Business School. So I'm very thankful for her involvement with that. Also got to catch up with Ian Williamson, Professor Ian Williamson, I should say, Dr. Ian Williamson. He was a former, I don't know if it was Dean or I can't remember his exact title, but he was also the other co-founder of the Murra Indigenous Business Masterclass program here at Melbourne Business School. So I ran into him last night because he's also continuing to do facilitation of that in the program, even though he's moved on to to work for a business school, the Victorian State Business School in New Zealand. So he's over there, but comes back to be involved with Murra still. So look, there's some great people involved with the Murra program. and working around Indigenous business as well here in Victoria. So in general, so yes. This morning, it's Saturday. Woke up this morning. I had a data analysis tutorial assistance class this morning from 9 to 10:30. So I done that and finished up there. Went down and met up with some of my Managing People syndicate group. So we started to discuss a few ideas around that. We have a midterm assessment presentation that needs to be handed in the next couple of weeks. So we've got stuff down on paper. I have to appreciate again the work that my fellow syndicate members have done to get that up and running. Priscilla and Faye, Pauline and George, they've done some great work, and we've pulled together some information and ideas about how we're proceeding with that, and it's coming together. It's coming to a point where we've got stuff on paper. We've got some form coming to it. We just need to probably put a bit more format or agenda around how we're going to proceed for that, to put in some method around that. So for the presentation and delivery. So we've got a couple of weeks still to work on that before we have to have it in, but very confident in how we're going about that. So, and this is one of the things that you learn by doing the MBA. Again, I've had a pretty hectic week at work. It's been pretty full on. I've literally, and I told my other syndicate members that I just have not had time to look at our Slack communication channel. I've seen that there's been work contributed to the assignment that we're doing. I just have not had time to actually get around and look at it. I've just been far too busy with my work. But in saying that, that's also no excuse for me not to be involved with the assignment. So obviously today I met up with them and had a look at what work has been done, and also looked at it through the week. Generally, I didn't do any actual contribution other than just do a quick look over what others have contributed already. So, and there's some great work going into that. So that's going to come together. So I'm very thankful for that, for the contribution that our syndicates are pulling together for doing that. So that's pretty important, that you get everyone in your team contributing. Everyone has their own ideas and things to contribute. So it's very important also to make sure that everyone does contribute, and that everything's covered in the assignment as well. I mean, what we need to look at is we're doing an assignment on managing people, and what we learned from our leadership class for at the start of doing the MBA, the Melbourne Business Schools, the MBA, is that we're all leaders. So it's if you've heard of the phrase or fable of the too many cooks spoil the broth. We've got a lot of cooks. We've got a number of chefs, if you will. So we're all trying to. You can't all be the leader. In some instances, you got to learn to also be a team player in that regard. So, and that can be hard for some people because their job is being a leader. They're in whatever capacity they are, as a manager or a project manager, or in my role as a relationship manager. My job is to go out and liaise with other organisations, with members, and to assist them and to drive towards a goal and attain an outcome. So it's an interesting thing when you need to learn to step back from being in that role and learn to also be a team player, a team member as part of that, as part of your contribution as well. So yes, so I've done we had our meeting. Done looked at data analysis with some other guys as part of the study group that we have sort of formed. So done that. I actually started to drop out. For whatever reason, I was just didn't have a clear head, so it was just easy for me to I actually went back to work, and because I've got so much work on, there was an email that I had sitting on my computer that I had on Friday afternoon, where the emails just weren't working. When I copied them and pasted them into to send it out, it wasn't working, and I was just running behind time because I had everything happening. I just left it, so I came back, went back there today and sent that out. So, and also followed up with another potential member of the Chamber of Commerce, Kinaway, with an email that was again referred through to actually by Michelle Evans, so Dr. Michelle Evans. So I followed that up with an email as well to get that out of the way. I then went and had a haircut. Again, simple little thing, a haircut, but had to find the time to get that done. As you can see, it's my new do. So just finding time to do things like that, because again, I've just had a full-on week. I've got the study to do, but also need to find the little things to do, that such as having a haircut and finding time to go and do grocery shopping, and at some point I'll have to clean the house, and do chores. So yes, then I've come back here to do some more study. I'm actually doing some readings on for managing people. So, and again, my head's just not in it. I did read one article, did my summary notes for that. Excuse me, and I'll continue to do those readings possibly tonight. Otherwise, I'll do it in the morning and knock that over, and then get into data analysis and complete it. So I did the survey for managing people, which is required to be lodged by tomorrow night. That's in. I'll need to do my reflection question as well, to lodge it as well, and do my readings. So managing people is one of those ones where you consistently got something to do with it. So you do need to be on top of it. In saying that, I'm also finding that I probably need to be more on top of doing data analysis. So that will require doing a revision, doing my class prep, and doing the tutorial assistance help sessions, classwork as well. That's very important. And now I'm doing the videos. So I'm going to, this will be the first one that I'll put up, which is just a debrief of my week for week 3, more so around work, more than probably doing my MBA coursework. But yeah, it's been a full-on week for me at work. So it's something that, if you're looking to do the MBA, keep it in mind, the part-time MBA, keep it in mind. You really do need to factor that in to how you're going to manage that as part of your part of work, part of your study, doing the MBA, and then your personal time. And look, if you intend to do it and you have a partner or family or community or other commitments other than work, you really need to talk to those people and make sure they're on board with what you're doing, because that can it has a big role to play in what you can do and can't do. So yes, actually talking about where I went to Murra last night, I also had a fellow board member of Kinaway, the Victorian Indigenous Chamber of Commerce, with me attending that. So, and in doing so, I also met some other corporates and referred them on to some of our members who they can access potentially into their supply chain for to meet the requirements around Indigenous business procurement. So these are the other things that come and flow from the work that I do. And that's probably why I also talk about it. It's very important to me. Part of the readings that I actually done for managing people was around the importance of authenticity in the work, at work, And basically, authenticity in the workplace is basically about you being you and not having to put on a facade or a mask and be somebody that you're really not. And I've had to sort of try and do that in other workplaces that I've been in, and it can take a toll in terms of you're not mentally and emotionally there because you're not you don't have a buy-in to what you're doing into the work if you don't feel that you're contributing in a way that you feel that is value adding to that organisation, or you don't feel that it's being considered in a way that can benefit the stakeholders. So I can relate to that, and it also talks about where you have professional codes of conduct in place around that to scope people's behaviour at work. I know that I've worked in a organisation where professional codes of conduct and the way you conduct yourself and the way that the organisation was structured was very hierarchical. Your role was defined significantly. Your interaction with other parts of the organisation was limited. I had to also consider conflicts of interest because I have my involvement. I have my own business, which I have, so Foley Business Management. So I had to consider that and how that played into it. There's definitely the silo effect there, and so authenticity. But then I've also seen where authenticity at work, you've got to be careful around that, because where the professional code of conduct, you need to be aware that you do have a role to play in that organisation. If you don't feel that your role fits the values of the organisation, then you need to consider whether that is the right place for you. And I think one of the comments it says in the article, actually I will quickly pull out what the name of the article was. Bear with me. So the name of the article I read for week 4 readings for Managing People, it was called "Authenticity at Work is More Than a Buzzword." So yes, and one of the things they said in that was that if you not feel that you're being able to be you, authentic, you don't have a buy-in as far as the values that you're contributing to, there is going to be a lack of, you're just going to show up, but you're not going to be engaged mentally and emotionally. The outcome of that is your wellness deteriorates and your new ideas are foregone. I actually know that from personal experience working in that organisation where I said that it was involved. With everything that was going on, I did feel that my wellness was deteriorating, and the new ideas, because I couldn't contribute to areas because there were silos, conflicts of interest, I couldn't pass that on because there was technically Chinese walls around that. So, in saying that, I did send an email to the title would have been essentially a CEO, if you will, of that organisation, saying what my thoughts were around that. So, I did want to communicate that, but I have to admit, I did it towards when I knew I was leaving. So, because there would have been repercussions around from the top down if that was passed down about stepping over management that was in between, and that can then have ramifications around not just yourself but your manager or supervisor, the person above you, because there's a cascade down from the top down that falls upon that person, then falls upon not just yourself, but can also potentially be your team that you're working in. So yeah, I sent an email towards the end of my tenure of that contract. Yes, so wellness deteriorates, new ideas are foregone, and as an outcome of that affects productivity, and productivity then affects budget. So yes, so that was interesting in just that the article that I read. So yes. Okay guys, I'm going to sign off for this video. This will be video 2019-10-12-8. I'll for my debrief of my week 3 here doing the MBA, but it is a debrief of my work week more so, probably if anything else, because that was what consumed most of my time for this week. So if you want to follow me on YouTube, you can at Damien Foley. If you want to follow me on Facebook, it's Damien Foley Official. Instagram is DG Foley. I almost forgot the website, which is probably just as important, which is www.damienfoley.com/MBA. And then my LinkedIn is Damien Foley 1. Okay guys, I'm signing out, and I'll put up my new video after this to follow, which will be hints and tips, data analysis hints and tips. Okay guys, bye.